It's that time again where I go through a solo game and I decide to explain everything I'm doing out loud, because I think it works. Today specifically, I want to focus a bit more on sound, and I'll talk about that in a bit. But I am going to go off rip with these new Intel contracts. Intel contracts now give you bunker keycards, and I got to tell you guys, Foresight in solos is crazy. It's really, really good. There's always going to be one guy who's interested in it. He's peeled off. There's always going to be one. Whenever you go for a contract, always expect one. Gonna get a nice little 3-plate on that guy nice and early. I don't really want to push him necessarily with a ground loop pistol, so I am just going to go for this warehouse here and try and get like a proper gun. The ground loop pistol is so bad now. It's like the worst thing in the game. Got a couple plates. Love that. Oh, a little RBD. I do love a redeployment balloon. Those things are great now. I love them. They're like the best re-addition to Warzone in a while. He's inside of my right. That's a little bit what I was alluding to about sound. Like, I'm going to talk about it a bit more in detail, but basically, a lot of Warzone solos is just winning because you're playing sound cues. When you don't make noise and your opponent makes noise, it's the simplest victory you can get in Warzone. I knew that guy was pushing out right. It's the only logical location for him. Now, I think a second person did land here, so I'm just going to be a bit weary of that. I want to get this intel done off quickly. Oh no, somebody's just jumped off that train. I've heard somebody jump. Yeah, that's worth the finish. That's worth the push. You don't want to be in a vulnerable position. That's his mini ground floor UAV thing, so I don't need to worry about the UAV on the map right now. Like, even that, I heard a jump to my left. The train is naturally rolling past. It makes sense that you put 2 and 2 together, and sound tells me there's a man there. I got a little key card. Ooh, hello. Not 1, but 2 UAVs? For me? Is for me? That's beautiful. We love that. I'm going to pop this UAV just because I'm concerned that 1 has just gone up, and I think it is that compound where it's come from. These guys are obviously going to see this bunker open because it's going to be like right next to their faces. So I'm expecting one of these guys to push down, but I really want Foresight here. I love attack sprint boot as much as the next man. I've got a little bit of UAV here, so I'm just going to get some of these boxes on the side first and try and get, there we go, lovely little self-revive. I'm going to take 2 because I'm greedy. Little util box is always better than pretty much all the other boxes in the game at this point. Lots of extra cash. Cash. Now enough time has passed that he could probably run across to that zipline, so I'm just going to play straight across for the main loot crate, because that's arguably the most important, especially if Foresight's involved. I've got a specialist. I mean, it's not quite what we wanted, but I don't think you can ever really be upset about having specialists, can you? I'm gonna get that down, just in case this guy has rushed across, and I don't think he has entirely. He's, like, had to think about it. He's, like, getting close to the bunker, and he's thinking about it. I'm gonna try and, like, get to the bottom of the zip here, just to see if he plays it. If not, I'm probably gonna go and play him out myself, just because why not? We sacrifice a cluster mine, I think. Even though they are useful in solos. Just gonna wait for an audio cue here. Okay, he's called. He's definitely called in that portable buyer. That must be his. He could have covered that ground in that space of time. There's a guy under me. He knows I'm here, obviously, because I've just dove in on his head top. Just gonna go prone. I'm gonna let him make the movements here. I'm gonna let him tell me where he's going. He's got pies inside based on the beeping I'm hearing. Oh no, that's the box. He's waiting until he can't hear anything for a while and he thinks the coast is clear. Which is why I'm making no noise. I'm deliberately coaxing him into thinking that it's safe. I want him to think I've gone somewhere else, even though I definitely haven't.
Friendly loadout drops on the way.
You would be surprised how many players would fall for something like this. Plus, you know, people just generally get impatient. There's a couple guys having a little scrap over there. That's quite interesting. Hopefully it's a fruitful scrap for them. Oh my god. I feel so bad about that. I feel so bad. I mean, that's literally sound cueing to an art form, guys. Like, I let him make all the noise in the world. And obviously, when I cut him off there, a lot of you guys are probably going to go back on the VOD and be like, why did he pre-fire that corner? Is he cheating? Absolutely not. Well, most of you won't do that. The people who don't leave their basement will. It's a really fundamental principle that he's going to play towards cover in Warzone. Every player wants to feel safe. No player in Warzone runs around thinking, yeah, you know what I really fancy? Running around out in the open. And I told you he would get impatient. I mean, it was very intelligent of him to smoke something off. Now, there is an argument for me not throwing the Semtexes there and making him think he's twice as safe. But the flip side of that argument, this guy might also be coming in for a loadout drop here, so I'm just going to hide for a second.
Enemy soldier incoming.
I saw him on the UAV. I felt kind of bad about that one. I mean, he's definitely out now. There is an argument to not throw the Semtexes there, but like, if I don't get involved at that point and he double smokes away anyway, he would have been out of any kind of combat range for me at that point. So we've got a fair bit of cash now. We don't, unfortunately, have the foresight we were looking for. But the zone is looking like a low town finish, which I'm not too keen on, if I'm honest. I don't really like low town finishes. Oh, by the way, the weapons we're using today, little static HV. Which, by the way, I mean, it reminds me of the Hurricane from Modern Warfare 2, like the little strip mag on the side. But the TTK for this thing's actually really good, especially if you land a headshot. And I've combined it with my lovely little thermal Kar 98. If you are interested, these weapon builds will be at the end of the video. That guy's definitely on the buy station right now, which means he is going to cross this in a moment. Didn't quite get the shot off there. He hasn't heard me or seen me, I don't think.
Be advised, UAV is exiting the AO.
So I'm just going to be really quiet here. He's on the balcony. That dude did not hear me for that entirety of that fight. I'm turning him into a frisbee, I'm sorry. It's kind of, again, this is what I'm alluding to about sound cues. You would be surprised about how many fights in Warzone you would win if you just simply let the other dude make the noise for you. Like, you would be so surprised, guys. This guy is gonna push across, I reckon, to... Oh, he's landing straight in on me. Okay. Probably the same dude. That's the one bonus of having Specialist. Got the live ping off there. I thought that was probably the same guy, but it doesn't look like it actually is. I'm actually going to burn one of these airstrikes just because I don't want anybody else using them. I like having as many streaks as possible. We're going to start moving north here because I think that's the intelligent play. I'm actually going to use the redeploy. Why not? Why not use a little redeploy? I like flying in on opponents, and the reason I love these redeploy balloons is because they really do just give you the option to land on an opponent. You've seen now in at least 1 or 2 fights how I've let somebody make lots of noise and it's gotten them killed. And now, yes, landing in on an opponent does basically announce your position to your entire surroundings. I'm not, you know, I promise I'm not stupid. But the flip side of that is that if you run up to a building, you make the same amount of noise, but they can counter you really easily. Do you know what I mean? I'm going to see where this circle pulls, which is why I've not committed to the inside of Lowtown yet, because I think it could go back across the river, or it could be one of those really awkward house finishes. Either way, I don't feel entirely comfortable going for a full send deep into Lowtown. We've got a guy sort of scaling the hill here, so I might get a little cheeky 3-plate on him. Oh, that was nearly a nice follow-up shot. A little limitation of this Slagger night view eventually is that you don't get the outline. You kind of have to shoot like a shadow. Lots of people fighting out here. Nice little pick there. He doesn't even realize that that's been sniped. That unfortunately doesn't look to be pennable, but this guy, if he's smart, he'll get off that roof. We've got a tag. He's going to go through that door. Oh, that could have been a really nice little follow-up. Like I say, it's kind of a natural player inclination that they want to stay safe and stay in cover. So stuff like predicting where they're going to run to, how I got the pre-fire on the guy, like, over here or wherever it was, and how I knew that guy was going to run through that door there. It's just basic player behavior. Now, I am kind of sounding a little bit here. I'm waiting for the sound cues. The sound... I can't use that word on YouTube, but you kind of think... I think you guys know what I'm referring to. Just sound exploiting, I guess, would be the word. I'm just going to chill for a second, wait for 54 seconds to get a better read on my best position in the zone here. And if somebody presses my building, I'm going to stay nice and quiet. I'm going to let them creep up on me, and I'm just going to absolutely blow their brains out. And, like, there's going to be a couple of people watching at home going, this is not professional Warzone. And I got to tell you guys, Solos is not professional Warzone. Solos is a goddamn bloodbath, and it's the hardest mode to win a game of Warzone in. It's so difficult, which is why you got 3 dudes spectating me like I'm the Messiah, even though I haven't done anything spectacular. It's just a hard mode. It's so hard to get wins in solos. And I don't care if you camp in solos. I don't care if you hide in a building. A win is a win in solos. Solos is hard work. You can take this from somebody who lost $20,000 to bloody Skullface on a, you know, Survivor wins all solos. It's difficult.
Enemies are dropping into the area.
This guy's going to land on me because he thinks I probably haven't seen him. So I'm actually going to turn around last second here. I think he shied away from it.
Relocating the safe zone.
Okay, I'm going to get across this circle earlier rather than later. This is one of the few scenarios where going sooner rather than later is better. That's a pretty big zone pool. And anybody in Lowtown is just going to get caught in a massive player churn here. What I want to play for here is the second story of that room. It's super defendable. You can play the audio cues really well. It's not the most in-zone location, and I will have to fight for it, but it's better than being on the roof. I mean, that guy didn't even hear me land in, which is quite impressive. I mean, I don't really know how he didn't hear me land in. I'm just going to take this quickly. That's a bunker buster, and I do want one of those. Just going to yoink myself a UAV here. You know, I will get rid of extra plates because I don't necessarily need them right now. There's lots of dead bodies on these stairwells. Again, the obvious position's the roof here. We're not playing the roof. We're not playing the balcony. We are playing this room here because it is the most defendable room in Warzone for this circle. The other defendable position is obviously this 2-story building and taking the second roof, but that's not going to be in the circle for as long, which is why I've gone for this position here. I can sound cue this building really, really well, and in fact, to make my life even easier, is what I would have gone and got some crates rid of there. I will do that at some point. I will burn those crates just to give me more audio cues. But I'm just going to let these guys run around a bit and see who fights who. That's going to vaguely reduce the amount of audio I have to contend with here. There is one above my head, which is a bit annoying, but it's still going to make things a little bit quieter and a little bit easier to hear people pushing up on me. Still got that pinged for some reason. Okay, somebody's landed right on my head. But if they play down the stairwell, which they probably will. Bro's got the lovely microphone as well. If he plays down the stairwell, he will check out this room. It's basic player nature. But he's going to go, I wonder what's in here, bro. I made no noise. This is the difficulty for these players. He's thinking that the room's probably safer than the roof as well. He's on the other side of that door, making lots of noise. I've made none. I'm making him feel safer by the second here. He has no reason to believe there's anybody in this room, so he's just going to run around thinking that... Exactly, just like that. Like, thinking that it's the safest way to play Warzone. Sound cues are king, guys. And he's given me a free cluster mine, which I absolutely love. In fact, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to make sure that all of his loot is obscured from the door. This is perfect. This is a really good position to be in. Hypothetically, I probably want to switch sides to the other side of the buildings. And I think I probably will do that with a UAV. I'm going to pop this UE. I'm going to smoke out, get another UAV on the way in. And I'm going to play the other room on the opposite side. Little guy to deal with there who jumped in. Again, another player who didn't hear me because I deliberately tried to avoid making too much noise. This is going to put me in the zone for much longer. I'm not going to put this cluster mine on the stairwell because it gives away my location. I'm going to put it in a really random location. I'm actually going to call this in as well as an option. Even if I don't necessarily use it, it's a good option to have. Okay, he's heard me bust that door, so he knows I'm here. Sometimes some players just play too overconfident for their skill. And that's an example of that. That guy thought, wow, this guy hiding in this room is probably terrible. I'm going to push him with 0 consequences and no impunity. And it didn't work out for him that way. I can't lie, boys. I'm going to close up some of these doors here, leave these bodies there. And again, we're in a good spot here. I've got lots of util. I can probably take another streak here just by... Stacking util makes perfect sense in this scenario. Having lots of airstrikes gives me options to play opponents off of rooftops, especially if this circle ends on the roof. I want to have as many airstrikes as humanly possible to force people to move. There's only 7 alive, and this is a big space for 7 people, so I'm playing tight. There's no need to amplify risk, and the big thing about playing sound is that we're not amplifying risk. I knew that the second that iridescent player heard me, like, jump around, I knew for a fact that he was going to push down because he heard the audio and he felt friend. And I knew for a fact that the second he was sprinting around in that room and saw the door open, he thought he was going to get an easy push into the room, which is why I slid out and chowed him.
Get on the ground or go underwater to avoid detection.
Not big on an occupation scan here, if I'm honest, but, I mean, it might give me some free intel. Got one guy right off the edge. This is just gonna... This is one of them circles where you just let things play out for a bit. This is a lot of space right now. There's a lot... Even in this circle, which is smaller, there's so much room for 7 people. So I'm playing my audio cues. I'm going prone here so that people visually can't see me at the top of the stairs. But obviously I want to be aware of the fact that somebody could creep my stairwell if they were so inclined. Which is why my gun optics are kind of sort of chilling around here for now. We'll sort of cycle between the two. 6 people alive, still a fair number of people for a circle like this. Mon UAV, that's fine. I don't really care. Like, they're going to expect people to be in this building anyway. They might not necessarily realize what floor I'm on. They might assume I'm in the roof because I'm on the 2nd floor, which is nice, hopefully. Being in a middle floor actually really obscures your position to a lot of people.
Gas is moving in. New safe zone located.
Yeah, I mean, if I want it, I've got one more circle here. Got a guy rushing over now because he's panicking. He's playing that outside tent over here. You can hear him running on the dirt outside. So he's thinking that's a nice little staging position for him. And he's right. That's a good spot for him. I'm going to have a bit of a combination problem here to deal with. So I'm going to have people who are going to inevitably play this building because it's their only option, like that guy who was over here. So anything on the west side is going to collapse onto me right now. And then the reality is I'm in a building and people are expecting somebody to at least be in the main building, if not on the roof. I'm going to pop a UAV here. I don't think anybody's played the roof since I've sort of shaken control of it. There is a guy on the roof and he's watching the stairwell. I'm actually going to gas mask play this guy. Going to very deliberately think that I'm not pushing him. Because now everybody knows I'm here anyway. Everybody was expecting somebody to be in the building, so it makes sense to take the best position in the building. And now I can cause some carnage. Using all those streaks I gathered. One guy left. He's been hit by a PA. He's been hit by all of it. I'm going to go early here whilst he's on the PA strike. I'm going to get up on this roof and I'm going to make no audio cue. I'm going to make 0 audio cues here. That's a bit weird, I'm not going to lie. He has no reason to know why I'm there. There we go. Nice and done. Woo. We played that perfectly. There's a lot of scenarios there where we just played audio, we let the circle come to us, and we played away from the action until we needed to. You know, we used the information to win that game. That is not a prolific game of Warzone, guys. I've done very few special things. I've won some good fights against some good players. That iridescent guy was a decent player. That last guy, I don't really know how he knew I was there, but he obviously isn't stupid and maybe saw me make that cross or maybe thought I would have made that cross. There were decent players in that, but it's all so much more winnable when you play those sound cues and you just play that solo experience really intelligently. I think there's some really good takeaways there about how you could play sound in Warzone to just let your opponents in solos make mistakes. I'm going to show you guys the builds quickly. Let's get out of this bloody lobby. I don't want to stroke my own ego. Screw all of that. I want to show you guys the builds I'm using. If you aren't interested, this is the static HV with the brand new paracord and quartermaster suppressor, which if you are unaware are the best attachments in the game right now. That is movement speed and horizontal recoil on the paracord, and then on the quartermaster suppressor you're getting a huge recoil buff, which is amazing. And you can unlock both of those by leveling up the STG. And then on the sniper rifle, for those of you who are interested, here's what we've got going. Guys, if you enjoyed this solo video, please do drop a like, consider subscribing. It really does support the channel, and I'll see you again in the next one.